Nobody ran like American Michael Johnson, literally. And during the golden era that included 3 Olympic Games, hardly anyone could beat him either. Johnson was like no other for his time. A distinct running style was one thing, but a potent combination of strength, speed, and endurance saw him dominate the 200 and 400 meters for almost a decade. At the Atlanta Games in 1996, on home soil, Johnson was primed for an extraordinary double and wrote himself into history in more ways than one. This is perfection, the most inspired moments in sport. The world has rarely seen an athlete with the presence of Michael Johnson. And from the time he broke the Baylor University record for the 200 meters in his very first race, a legendary track career was born. It was obvious a standout career was beckoning, but initial Olympic campaigns had not been kind to Michael Johnson. As he prepared for the Seoul Games in 1988, Johnson developed a stress fracture in his left fibula before the US Olympic trials, and he failed to qualify for the 400 and then withdrew from the 200. A year after winning his first 200-meter World Championship gold medal in Tokyo in '91, Johnson was the overwhelming favorite at the Barcelona Olympics, but contracted food poisoning just 2 weeks out. His body, sapped of strength, energy, and weight, let him down, and he finished 6th in the heats, failing to make the final, although he would help the US team win gold and set a world record in the 4x400 meters. At the next 2 World Championships, Johnson gave everyone a taste of things to come, winning the 400 and 4x400 relay golds in 1993 in Stuttgart. His 42.91 split is still the fastest 400 meters in history. 2 years later in Gothenburg, he made history becoming the first track athlete of the 20th century to win the 200 and 400 at a major competition. Then threw in the 4x400 gold for good measure. It didn't happen often, but rare defeats were a source of motivation for Johnson.
When I've lost races, I feel like I didn't do the best that I could, and I don't like that. But I learned from it and move on, and I think that's what has made me better.
So to Atlanta, where Johnson could finally show the world his brilliant talent on the biggest stage, made even bigger at his home Olympics. And at the US trials, he sizzled, running a blistering 19.66 in the 200 meters, smashing the 17-year world record held by Italy's Pietro Mennea. Johnson was primed for Atlanta and the 200-400 double, a feat never achieved at an Olympic Games. And it was his gold Nike shoes, reportedly weighing just 3 ounces each, that had everyone talking. They dubbed him the man with the golden shoes. Not only did Johnson have a peculiar running gait, stiff and upright with short steps, but his left foot was a half a size smaller than his right. It mattered little. At Atlanta on July 29, Johnson easily won the 400-meter final, and with a time of 43.49, he set a new Olympic record, finally winning an individual Olympic medal. He was halfway to history. Silver medalist Roger Black of Great Britain, who ran 1 lane inside Johnson, was a whopping 0.92 of a second back. When Johnson is on the track, everyone else is running for second place, he said. When we return on Perfection, Johnson's run at history. Michael Johnson had penciled in the 200-400 double at the Atlanta Olympics for some time, and after securing the 400 meters gold in emphatic fashion, the world waited for the next pulsating installment. As the field lined up for the 200 final, just 3 days after the 400, the question was asked, can anyone beat this man? Remember, it was Johnson on the very same track at the US trials just 38 days earlier who had smashed the world record with a time of 19.66 seconds. And his 200 meters performance would be devastating. Johnson ran the first 100 meters in 10.12, and by the end of the bend, he'd swallowed up every runner outside him, including Namibia's Frankie Fredericks, who'd beaten Johnson less than a month earlier, snapping the Americans' 21-race win streak over the distance. But there was nothing stopping Johnson this time. With the crowd roaring him home, Johnson obliterated the fastest men in the world, winning by 3.5 meters in another world record time of 19.32 seconds. Crossing the finish line, Johnson then glanced to check his time. He had attained athletics immortality, the first and only man to win the 200-400 double at the same Olympic Games.
You never know what to expect with an Olympics in your own country. So it was a great experience for me, and I didn't know what to expect going in, but it was certainly the highlight of my career and could possibly be the highlight of my entire life.
Johnson's record stood for 12 years before a young sensation from Jamaica, Usain Bolt, went 19:30 and then 19:19 a year later. Johnson won the 400-meter title again at the Sydney Olympics in 2000, but he was injured in the US trials trying to qualify for the 200 and could not defend his title. Later, his 4x400-meter relay gold would be stripped after some teammates were found guilty of using performance-enhancing drugs. His career ended at Sydney, a career that tallied 4 Olympic gold medals and 8 World Championship titles as well.
You got to find something new. Once you've achieved one goal, you take it to the next level and go with the next step. And my overall goal is to finish my career as one of the greatest athletes ever, and this is just another small step in that.
Punctuated by his astonishing 200 meters at the Atlanta Olympics, that's guaranteed. When host nation Britain began announcing its athletes for the 2012 London Olympics team, it was the sailors who were afforded the privilege of being first up, and right out front was Ben Ainslie.
I'm very proud to announce that the first athlete to be selected for Team GB is Ben Ainslie, CBE, in the Finn class. Ben is Britain's most decorated Olympic sailor, with 3 gold and 1 silver medals, 9 times world and European champion.
One of UK sailing's national treasures, Ainslie was the very first of 8,000 torchbearers too, starting the 70-day Olympic torch tour at Lane's End on May 19, 2012. You got the feeling these Olympic Games were going to be something special for Ben Ainslie. Ainslie grew up around sailing. His father Roderick captained a boat that took part in the Whitbread round-the-world ocean race in 1973, and his elder sister is married to the Secretary General of the International Sailing Federation. He first competed internationally, aged 12, in Japan in 1989, and finished 73rd. But success would quickly find a way to Ben Ainslie. The Englishman's early years of racing were in the laser class, a one-man dinghy, where he secured 3 world titles. The first as a 16-year-old in 1993, and a silver medal at the Atlanta Games, before winning his first gold 4 years later in Sydney. From there, he bulked up, adding 15 kilograms, or 33 pounds, in preparation for a change in class, upsizing to the Finn, and kept winning at Athens and Beijing. A raging favorite to take a 4th gold at London 2012, Ainslie warmed up with another world title in the Finn class just 2 months earlier at Falmouth, Cornwall, where he'd learned to sail as a boy. Being familiar with local conditions was one thing, he said, but the fans would be a huge factor at the Games.
And almost maybe more importantly, I guess, having a home crowd. So the medal race in particular for sailing will be very close to the shore, and a great opportunity for the spectators to be in there close to the action, cheering us on, and I'm sure that will make a huge difference.
The men's Finn competition at the Olympics is made up of 11 races. The final race labelled the medal race, and 10 boats qualified, led by Ainslie and his great rival and regatta leader, Jonas H. Christensen from Denmark. An absorbing battle ensued that was only decided on the last mark of the medal race. And tactically, Ainsley had outfoxed Hogg Christensen, finishing in 9th, 1 spot ahead of the Dane. The pair had finished on equal points, but Ainsley had a higher score in one of the races, and so secured his most famous win, a 4th straight gold medal in front of thousands of English fans.
Yeah, well, it's great just to be here, be a part of it, really, and to witness him becoming the best sailor of all time.
Which is absolutely amazing, and he deserves it because you could see from the way he raced. You know, he's a competitor. He dug in deep. It got a bit nervy towards the end, didn't it? And he was absolutely superb.
Ainsley had become the world's most decorated sailor and most successful Olympic sailor of all time, with 5 medals from 5 games, not to mention 11 world titles.
It's an amazing feeling, you know, such a high-pressure situation, so much at stake, but, you know, to have that crowd there willing us all on, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm just really proud to have had that chance, and that things went well.
Fittingly, Ainsley was selected to carry the British flag at the closing ceremony, would later win a record 4th World Sailor of the Year award and receive a knighthood from the Queen, capping an incredible 2012. Next on Perfection, Serena's emotional tribute to her slain sister. Serena Williams is arguably the greatest female tennis player of all time, with no signs she is slowing down. Serena Williams has dominated women's tennis for so long that it is easy to forget the one truly flat patch in her career, around 2006, when her world ranking slid to 139. In her book, Williams said she suffered from depression around that time, and in hindsight, no one should be surprised. Williams's half-sister, Yetunde, had been shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in 2003. The bullets intended for Yetunde's gangster boyfriend. Serena needed daily therapy, would not leave her home for weeks at a time, and her tennis suffered. That is what makes her performance at the Australian Open in Melbourne in January 2007 one of her greatest, a moment that signaled her return to greatness. Williams's career had begun with a steady incline, winning her first Grand Slam singles title at just 17 years of age in 1999 at the US Open, until she even overhauled her elder sister Venus, who had been a better player when they were young. Serena admits her older sister cast a big shadow. She was taller, prettier, quicker, more athletic, wrote Serena of Venus, and she was certainly nicer. There was no living up to her. But the younger of the tennis-playing sisters had a competitive ferocity, fused with enormous athletic ability and power, and there was no stopping her in 2002 when she reached the #1 ranking, and 2003.
We were able to break the mold of a sport that was just really dominated by white people, and it doesn't matter what your background is and where you come from. If you have dreams and you have goals, and that's all that really matters.
The sisters kept winning doubles titles, but Serena, who ordered the same food at restaurants because she idolized Venus, had stepped up, to the delight of their parents, Richard and Oracene.
They just say, good luck. No, they don't say too much. I think they just probably want the one who didn't win last time to win this time. It's like, they wish we would take turns, I think.
When Yetunde Price was shot and killed in the Los Angeles suburb of Compton in September 2003, it had a deep impact on Serena. 31-year-old Yetunde, the eldest of the 5 daughters, had acted as a personal assistant to her more famous sisters and was a source of encouragement to Serena. In her darker moments, Serena Williams traveled to Africa to study her family's roots and opened a school in Kenya, finding a better space by the time she arrived in Melbourne in January 2007 for the Australian Open. There were doubts, though, with former superstar Chris Evert penning a magazine article in which she argued Serena was betraying her ability. An unflattering newspaper photo of Serena practicing touched off a heated media debate over whether she was overweight, but when it counted, her competitive fires burned. In the final, she would meet Maria Sharapova, the tall Russian, and it was a seminal moment in Williams' remarkable career. Williams, unseeded, ranked 81st in the world, and without a Grand Slam win for 2 years, thrashed Sharapova 6-1, 6-2 in an hour and 3 minutes, to even her own surprise.
Even I didn't expect to come in and win it all. I never expected to lose, but you know, you just always stay so positive and you always go in, you always think, I'm gonna win, but when it really happens, it's like I still can't believe the tournament is over. I feel like, you know, there's another match to be played or there's something else, and you know, it's an awesome feeling.
In her victory speech, Serena Williams laughed, cried, and poured it all out, dedicating the victory to her sister. Her name is Yetunde, and I just love her so much. And Serena has not looked back since. It's hard to miss Sun Yang. At 198 centimeters or 6 feet 6, China's swimming sensation has become one of the giants of the sport. They say Sun Yang swims with the grace of a dolphin and the killer instincts of a shark. And he's certainly not your typical Chinese athlete. The towering Sun enjoys the spotlight and attracts lucrative endorsement deals. He's been suspended by swimming authorities for missing trainings and competitions, and even spent a week in jail for crashing a friend's car while unlicensed. But he can swim fast. At his first Olympics in Beijing, at just 16, he set an Asian record, qualifying for the 1500-meter final, but then finished 8th. It was a sign of things to come. Within 3 years, Sun Yang was a bona fide superstar of world swimming, and perhaps second only to the great American Michael Phelps in popularity. He was 3rd at the 2009 World Championships. Then at the 2010 Asian Games, he recorded the second fastest 1500-meter time in history. Bigger, stronger, and more experienced, his zenith came at the 2011 World Championships in Shanghai, China. A silver medal in the 400-meter freestyle on day 1 was followed by his first gold medal-winning swim in the 800 free, and then Sun anchored the 4x200-meter relay team to a bronze medal. But ostensibly, he was there for the 1500 and was the hot favorite. The world record was the longest standing in the sport, a 14-minute 34.56, set in 2001 by two-time Olympic champion Grant Hackett from Australia, and the only record not beaten during the era of high-tech swimsuits. Sun was just a second outside that mark a year earlier, and had spent time with Hackett's former coach Dennis Cottrell in Australia in preparation for the world titles. In a statement to the world, Sun finished almost 10 seconds ahead of second-placed Ryan Cochran from Canada and touched the wall in 14:34.14, 0.42 inside Hackett's record, set exactly 10 years and 2 days earlier. I wasn't sure I could break the world record. I just wanted to keep my pace, Sun said. And Sun was back in Australia for 2 months to prepare for the London Olympics.
It's very helpful for me to get training abroad because I can train together with the overseas competitors, and that is good for my Olympic preparation. Furthermore, training abroad is good for the pre-race psychological adjustment.
If Sun was big at the Shanghai Worlds, he was huge at London. Swimming a full program of the 200, 400, 1500 and 4x200 relay, Sun carried the weight of a nation, hoping for its first men's Olympic swimming gold medal.
I will get 1 gold medal, and I think I will be more than happy if I can get 1 gold, because it means a big breakthrough for my career and for Chinese men's swimming. I don't expect any pressure. I will keep my composure.
His Olympics were stunning, winning gold in the 400 and just 0.07 outside the world record. A bronze in the 4x200 relay and silver in the 200, a dead heat for second. The 1500 final started with drama. Swimmers were commanded to step down from the blocks after noise from the crowd, but Sun, incredibly, dived in. It was not deemed a false start due to the step-down command. Moments later, Sun would smash his own world record by over 3 seconds, and in turn, become the first man since Vladimir Salnikov in 1980 to win the 400-1500 double at an Olympic Games. At the parade of China's gold medal winners in Hong Kong, Sun confirmed he wouldn't be taking it too easy after his London success.
You talked about being focused after the Olympics. I think it's fine, because we have worked hard for many years. I'm happy you pay attention to me. But don't give everyone here too much pressure, and let us relax.
Sun didn't relax too long. At Barcelona in 2013, he became the first man to win the 400, 800 and 1500 meter gold medals at a single world championship. Then at Rio, he took the 200 meter freestyle, adding more gold to his Olympic collection. After the break, Muttiah Muralitharan's magic moment.
To do well in the play. I think we got a...
Muttiah Muralitharan of Sri Lanka is statistically the greatest bowler in cricket history, and he also has a sense of timing. Cricket's world record wicket-taker conducted his career under fierce controversy, but even his harshest critics ended up doffing their hat to Muttiah Muralitharan. You just had to hand it to the great Murali, prince of off-spin bowlers. His career might well have ended in rancour when Darrell Hare, the Australian umpire, called him for throwing at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in December 1995. Murali's bowling action, certainly unusual, had been queried before, but this was the first time any person in authority had taken any substantive action. Hare called Murali 7 times, and Sri Lanka was outraged. Even more so when 2 other umpires called Murali during that season. Many years of fierce debate that often became nationalistic would follow over one of cricket's most thorny topics. But ultimately, Murali was cleared twice, and he continued to pile up wickets, overtaking the Australian Shane Warne's world record of 708.
Our International Cricketer of the Year, an absolute breathtaking genius with the ball, Muttiah Muralitharan.
He also won widespread popularity, especially for his charity work, returning to Sri Lanka with Warne to raise funds for locals after the 2004 tsunami that devastated his home country.
We have to get together and because we don't have to see which religion we are from, which race we are from, we have to get together and work together. It is more important because we have been went for a big disaster. So to overcome this, we have to see any religion or any parties or nothing. Should work together, then we can rebuild the country again.
Murali had a sense of timing and a good scriptwriter. In 2010, Sri Lanka played a test series against India, and Murali announced that his final match would be played in Galle. By now, he was the most famous of his countrymen, and he needed 8 wickets to reach 800 in Test cricket. Sri Lanka dominated the game, and for a time, it looked as though his teammates would deny him the fairy tale finish with their excellent bowling. Then with 1 wicket remaining to clean up the match, Murali, with 7 of the 8 scalps he needed, came back on to bowl to Pragyan Ojha, India's last batsman. Ojha prodded forward, edged the ball, and slip fieldsman Mahela Jayawardene took a rolling catch as Murali was swamped by teammates. "This is one of the greatest moments in my life, retiring in this way," he said. Murali kept playing limited overs or one-day cricket until the World Cup final in 2011, when the Sri Lankans confronted India, and this time he nominated it as his last ever international match.
This could be the biggest moment in my life because I had moments in '96 at the time. I was very young and I didn't know much about it. And now I know about what it has taken to win a World Cup. It's not only mine, so many people there, maybe this must be my last World Cup. So
if he can win, it's the greatest moment in my life.
This time he could not deliver. India won the World Cup, and Muttiah Muralitharan wandered into the wilderness, away from international cricket. Gone, but not forgotten.